let's do it. Now it's time, listeners, for Liam and Ellie have done some things. Here are the things they've done and their reviews of those things that they've done.
I went to the cinema.
What did you see?
Fighting with my family.
I'm interested in this because it looks good.
It is good. It's good. So for anyone that doesn't know, this was directed by Stephen Merchant.
Yep.
It's based off of a documentary, and I know
which I think is called Fighting with My Family.
Possibly. I don't know what documentary is called. I know that we have a lot of wrestling fans listen to this podcast.
We might have some wrestling fans.
A lot of
we
wrestling
don't
fans. This film is all about
know.
Paige, the wrestler.
Yep.
And
her brother, kind of.
Yeah, well, kind of her family. So she.
Yeah.
Why this film became a thing is The Rock was apparently over here filming one of the Fast and Furious in London. Couldn't sleep. Saw this documentary on Channel 4 one night. Was like, I want to make a film about that. And he had worked with Stephen Merchant on the classic film The Tooth Fairy.
Oh, God.
And he got in touch with Stephen Merchant about writing it. And then Stephen Merchant was like, I would also like to direct this. And The Rock produced it. The Rock has a cameo. You've seen most of his cameo in the trailer, and it's brilliant. You've got Lena Headey, who you would know from Game of Thrones as Cersei. She plays the mum. You got Nick Frost, who plays the dad. They do the thing that I love. Whenever a film is made off of like real events, they have the thing in the credits where you see some of the actual documentary it's based off of. And there's a line in the film that you're like, oh, that's probably just something that they put in just to make it funnier. And then you see that line delivered in the credits, and you're like, oh, wow, that's what these people were like. Because, so Nick Frost plays the dad, who's this, like, big guy with a mohawk, and just... when you see Nick Frost, it's not really the sort of role that you maybe would necessarily think of him as doing. Because he's normally quite the, like... Buffoon's the wrong word, but like...
Yeah, but he's a funny guy.
Yeah.
Character.
This guy is sort of the sort of guy who's like, you know, a bit thuggish, a bit loutish.
Yeah.
But just brilliant. You've got Florence Pugh, who plays Paige, and then you've got her brother, who is played by Jack Lowden. And the story is essentially they've grown up in this family that's just obsessed with wrestling. Like, the mum and dad met because of wrestling, and the kids have just been brought up in this world. They have their own, like, amateur wrestling that they do in, like, the north of England. And what I thought was really interesting is it shows you... They did this, like... So the brother ran this, like, wrestling camp for, like, other teenagers and stuff in the area. And the way the film depicts it, I don't know how close to truth it is, but, like, kids that are maybe going down, like, the wrong path would get involved in this, and he would kind of try and use this as a way of like keeping them out of things like gangs and drug dealing.
I saw Steve Merchant on The Last Leg the other night talking about it, and he said no, that is the brother is literally just this really nice guy who does that to help people.
So there was a bit in it that I was like, oh, that's a bit far fetched, or maybe far fetched was wrong. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. Where they have a blind kid. And the brother... Oh,
no, that's real,
yeah. The brother teaches him wrestling, and then at the end, they've got, like, the little credits where it's like, oh, so Paige went on to do this and this and that. The blind kid become a professional wrestler.
Yeah.
That's insane.
He taught him to, like... Wasn't it he, like, taught him to, like, pace out the ring and stuff, is what I heard. That's Steve Merchant was like, yeah, no, he, like, took on this blind kid and taught him to wrestle. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's...
The brother sounds like a really nice guy.
He is, but the way it's also pitched is... So the brother and sister are growing up. The... WWE are coming to England to hold like auditions.
Yeah.
The brother and sister both get involved, but only the sister gets chosen to go out to America and
join the WWE.
Well, to join like the essentially the training program for
NXT.
It. Yeah, that's it. Well, not even that though. So it's like a boot camp that they have to go through first.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something like I'm not a huge wrestling fan. I don't know a lot about wrestling. When I watched it. As people who have listened to our wrestling sort of episode will know, I kind of watched like the Attitude Era, but that was when women's wrestling wasn't taken very seriously.
No, and from what I understand, Paige is the turning point.
That's what the credits say, yeah.
Which is why I really want to see it, because like I was the same. Like I knew women's wrestling from back then, where it was just a a jokey thing that they kind of did.
They did like bra and panty matches, which you not get away
disgusting.
with now.
No, because it's wrong.
Yeah, and I think, in all honesty, I don't know why. I much prefer watching like the female UFC stuff, and I think now that like the female wrestling's actually being taken more seriously, I would probably prefer watching that than like
I genuinely like that was the bit I was getting into back when we did that wrestling episode. Was I was fascinated by Bayley, Paige,
and now you got Ronda Rousey doing it.
Well, I'm less interested in her because
why's that?
It kind of annoys me when a UFC fight. Like, I don't know how she's done since then because I haven't watched it since her first match.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know. It kind of annoys. I get when a wrestler goes to UFC, and I'm like, fair play. If you get your ass kicked, I'm not going to be surprised.
Yeah.
But when a UFC fighter comes to wrestling, I'm like, yeah, really? Like, I don't know. Because it feels like they ride in on the coattails of being just a successful fighter, and it's a completely different thing.
Yeah, but I think Ronda Rousey did also do like she's been in movies and stuff based off of UFC, so which that acting element is part of the wrestling side of it. Yeah, but then you
skip through like NXT. It feels like they haven't earned it. I don't know. That's my completely uneducated view.
I haven't seen any of Ronda Rousey doing WWE, so I follow her on like Facebook and Twitter, and it's always amusing when she'll be like tweeting like, "Oh, I can't believe this wrestler said this thing about me. I'm gonna really like show them up in the ring next time." And it's like, I know that it's all part of like the illusion. Yeah. But also a part of me is just like, it's not real, right? You've also got Vince Vaughn, who plays like the coach who runs the boot camp and stuff.
I think I'd forgotten that he was in it.
Yeah, he's good. It's okay. It is good. It's really enjoyable. I have one minor quibble, and I don't know how it played out, right? But I can't discuss it without doing spoilers, so never mind. Okay. I have a quibble with the end, basically.
Okay.
But otherwise, I super enjoyed it. 3.5 out of 5. It's not going to change the world or anything, but it's a pleasant thing to watch. Like, even if you know nothing about wrestling, it's still entertaining because it is still like Hamilton. It is still the rags to riches story.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's this like working class family from like the north of England.
Yeah,
who it's interesting seeing someone who has had this dream and then watch it like actually be fulfilled, because I think we're so used to hearing that story of like, oh, I have a dream, but it's never happening. You could have all the talent in the world, but in the UK, you just don't seem to hear that story of actually talented people following their dream and doing well.
But I see what you're saying.
It seems, at least from my perspective, to be more overshadowed by people that are like, I want to be on Celebrity Big Brother and be famous for doing fuck all.
Well, yeah, but that's because you just sit on Facebook all day.
That's true.